Hello everyone and welcome back to Forecast, and Arsenal have completely thrown away this game. That is the only way to describe this performance against Manchester United in a game which you would have expected Arsenal to win and show a lot better performance than what they showed in today's game. And looking at the starting lineups, I actually thought Arsenal got it right today, starting Jesus up front. I think as a starting option, he's a lot better than Victor Gyökeres for Manchester United. Manchester United just picked pace on the break. I was surprised to not see Matheus Cunha start this game, but he had a lot of impact on the bench as we saw in this game. And in the first 25 minutes, Arsenal were in absolute control of this game. They didn't create any big chances, but Rice had a couple of shots or a couple of set pieces where Arsenal went close, and they were eventually rewarded for this pressure. Really poor defending by Martinez, more right about the man than the ball, and it ended up deflecting off him and into the back of the net. And all he needs to do is just put a foot through it, and he can just clear that ball away. And up to this point, Manchester United had absolutely nothing in this game. Arsenal were completely dominating. They were in control of this game. And after Arsenal scored, I'm just like, okay, they just need to keep doing what they've been doing. United had no chances. Arsenal have been completely on top, and a second goal probably kills off this game. But no, they allow United back into this game because Arteta tells them to sit in and defend the lead. It's absolutely astonishing the fact he's decided to do this. And he's done this over and over again, and he just doesn't learn his lesson. When you're on top, take advantage. There is no reason for him to sit in at this point of the game because there's another 60 minutes in it, and the last thing you want to do is allow United to get some confidence, allow them to get into the game. They were never into the game in the first 30 minutes, and this is exactly what happens. And United start creating chances. Bruno Fernandes couldn't take his, but Brian Mbeumo does take his chance, and it's for a Zubimendi mistake. And from there, United are the better side, and there's no real way to wrestle back the momentum of the game because United have confidence. They're playing well in the counter-attack. They weren't counter-attacking before this because they couldn't get out, and all of a sudden they can get out because you're allowing them to. And if Arsenal fail to win the league this season, it may go down as the worst piece of managerial coaching this season because that is a ridiculous decision. And the only explanation I could find is maybe they think United are a bit vulnerable on the counter attack, but you still were way better doing what you were doing in the first place because it was working and you decided to change it. And this results in United finding the second goal through Patrick Dorgu. It's an unbelievable finish from outside the box. Arsenal fans will claim the ball hits Dorgu's hand, and it definitely does. It is very close to his body, though, and look, those have been disallowed in the past. For today's one, it was allowed. I have no problem with that. Go with the on-field decision. And the other one will be the Maguire handball that will frustrate Arsenal fans. And once again, I don't think there's a huge problem with that Maguire handball. We've seen in the past this hasn't been given, for example, Martin Odegaard at Anfield, and this decision went with Arsenal. All of a sudden, United are leading in this game 2-1 because of the switch in momentum. I don't think either of these goals happen if Arsenal just continue what they were doing after the first goal. And Arsenal's passing was so poor in the whole game and in the second half, and they just keep giving away the ball. And then Arsenal decide to make some subs in the 56th minute. At least he didn't waste time, Arteta, in making the substitutions. But bringing on Gyökeres is absolutely pointless when you're chasing a game, and he's only really useful when you're leading and you've got space in behind. And Man United were never going to give Arsenal space in behind, especially when they were winning in this game. And Gyökeres did nothing for the rest of the game, as you would have expected. Arsenal do eventually find the equaliser through a set piece, and Mikel Merino scored for Arsenal. Sesko couldn't quite clear the ball off the line. I think he'll be a bit disappointed with that, but he won't care because Cunha went up the other end and won the game for United. It's an unbelievable finish off his right foot, and United definitely deserved the 3 points in this game. Cunha was outstanding when he came off the bench. A well-deserved 3 points for Manchester United. And maybe at some point Arteta will start to understand the fact that when you're in control, when you're leading, the worst thing you can do is give control to the other side and let them get into the game, which is exactly what happened in this game. And I've actually been quite positive about Arteta in a lot of games so far this season, but there's no excuse for this one. He is at a lot of fault for why Arsenal lost this game. So then we've got the player rating, starting off with David Raya for Arsenal. I'm going to give him a 6, then Yuri Timber, another 6, and same as Saliba. And once again, Gabriel is a 6. They were all just average in today's game. Hincapi was poor, I thought, though. I'm going to give Hincapi a 5. Then we've got the midfield, and Zubimendi was at fault for Arsenal in today's game. I'm going to give him a 3.5. Made some big errors for Arsenal and made an error that led to the first United goal. Declan Rice, not himself today. I'm going to give him a 5. And Odegaard, I'm going to give a 4.5. Really lacked any creativity at points in this game. Bukayo Saka, I'm going to give him a 6. Probably Arsenal's best attacker. Jesus struggled up front today. I'm going to give him a 5. And Trossard struggled on the left. In terms of the subs, Ben White, I'm going to give a 5. And Eze, I'm also going to give a 5. Neither of them actually improved on the players they came on for. Merino found the goal, so I'm going to give him a 6.5. And then Gyökeres, I mean, he just doesn't offer anything when you're trying to break down a low block. Then we've got Victor Gyökeres, and I mean, I'll say the same thing again. When you're chasing a game, he offers nothing. 5 for Gyökeres. Arteta, I'm giving Arteta a 2. This is one of the worst managerial performances I've seen by Arteta in this Arsenal reign, and definitely this season. They were in complete control in the 30th minute, and then all of a sudden he switches up the tactics. He tells them to defend and look to hit Man United on the break. And all he does is let United back into the game. And that is what cost them in today's game. So then we've got the Manchester United player rating. Starting off with Lamans, I'm going to give him a 7. Then we've got Dalot, I'm going to give him a 6. He was alright in today's game. Then Maguire, best defender on the pitch in today's game. I'm going to give him an 8. And Martinez, I'm going to give Martinez a 5. It's a poor error for the goal. Overall, though, he played alright in today's game. But I don't think I'm going to give him any more than a 5 because of that error for the first Arsenal goal. Then we've got Luke Shaw. Good performance, I'm sure. I'm going to give him a 6.5. Casemiro, very good in today's in that midfield. I'm going to give him an 8. Mainu was decent, not as good as Casemiro though. I'm going to give him a 6.5. Then we've got the attacking midfielder in Bruno Fernandes. I'm going to give Fernandes a 6. He could have been better in today's game, I think, and same with Ahmad. Brian Mbeumo, I'm going to give Brian Mbeumo a 7.5. He was good. And Patrick Dorgu, probably United's best attacker from the starters. I'm going to give him an 8. Mateus Cunha, I'm going to give a 9. Scored an unbelievable goal. And when he came on, he offered a lot up front. Benjamin Sesko, I'm actually going to give a 5.5. I think he still could have done better to get that ball off the line for the Arsenal equaliser. And then Michael Carrick, I'm going to give an 8.5. He was the better manager by an absolute mile in today's game. Got a lot right with Manchester United. Brought on Cunha at the exact right time. Got the starting 11 right. And overall, if you get a win away at the Emirates, you've done a lot right as the manager in the game. So what does this mean for the two sides going forward? I guess the first place to start with is Michael Carrick's future at Manchester United. So is Carrick the future for Manchester United? For me, Carrick isn't right now, but those are two very good results. Even if he does well this season, I still don't think I'd give him the job because I'm not convinced he'd be able to keep improving as the seasons go on because there's just no evidence that a Manchester United manager has been able to do this. And you'd have to say Carrick's a lot worse of a manager than a lot of the managers United have had since Sir Alex Ferguson. I also want to see him go up against a low block, a side that's more willing to sit in and defend. Where United have had more possession, for example, against like an Everton where they have like 80% to 70% of the ball, because the evidence we've seen recently, especially under Ruben Amorim and before this, is that United managers have really struggled to break down low blocks. I'm not sure if Carrick's that manager to find ways to do this. I also definitely think in terms of breaking down low blocks, they don't have the players to do it right now. Arsenal at points today were in a bit of a low block, but United found ways and different methods through Arsenal mistakes and some excellent finishes, but that doesn't take away from a great performance from Manchester United. And another positive for Manchester United is that they are now 4th in the Premier League. Looking at Arsenal are still first in the Premier League, but the gap's basically been cut in half. They are now only 4 points clear of City and Aston Villa, and they've absolutely thrown away today's game. They should still win the league though, because the sides around them, Manchester City and Villa, should continue to drop points throughout this season. But if one of them go on a run, especially City, if City decides to go on one of those runs that they've done in the past, then they could still 100% win this Premier League. Because I don't see Arsenal being a side where they win 10 games in a row at the end of the season based off what we saw today. They are such a nervous side despite being so far clear of everyone else. And it's actually unbelievable considering we're in January and they look this nervous. And this isn't the first time. I remember against Wolves at home in early December when Wolves were on 2 points. They were terrified and they were lucky to even win that game. So I think they're really starting to feel the pressure and the nerves. And this shouldn't start happening really till about April. especially if you consider how far clear they were of City and Villa going into this game. So it definitely is still possible that Arsenal don't win the league, but right now I still have Arsenal as the heavy favourites because teams around them will continue to drop points. And look, that isn't Arsenal's fault at the end of the day. Let me know your thoughts on this game. Are Arsenal going to win the league? Would you appoint Michael Carrick as Manchester United manager? And if you enjoy this video, go subscribe to this channel as well as liking the video.